everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Influence and Growth Mastery podcast. I'm your host, Tonya, and I am thrilled to be back with you today as we explore the art of the lifelong learning and personal and professional development and how it can change your life. We are diving into a quote today. I don't think I've ever done this, but we're going to dive into the famous quote of Benjamin Franklin, the quote of, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." This quote speaks to the very core of what it means to grow, develop, and influence those around us. So I want to take a few minutes today. This podcast is not going to be long at all, but I want to break it down together and see how it applies to our lives. First of all, let's take a look at the first phrase. Tell me and I forget. We've all been there. Somebody tells us something. The minute they tell us what happened, went right over our heads, went right through our ears, and we can't remember what they said. That sometimes happens to me frequently. I'm going to pick on my granddaughter today. It happens to her all the time. Lack of paying attention. I'll tell her something and tell her something and tell her something, and she forgets. And so we'll attend a conference and we'll be listening to an inspiring speaker maybe. We can read a life-changing book, hear a life-changing podcast. But how much of that do we really remember? How much of it do we retain? In the hustle and the bustle of our daily lives, it's so easy to take little nuggets of wisdom and then it slips right through our fingers. Many of you know, I've said this multiple times throughout my podcast over the past 70 podcasts the last year, that I listen to podcasts, I listen to YouTube videos, I listen to training sessions as I'm getting ready in the mornings, and I'll hear a nugget. And I'm like, I'm going to remember that. And when I get to my desk, I'm going to do something with it. Well, guess what happens? The minute I get to my desk, I have no clue what it was I was going to do, unless I write it down. I typically keep 3x5 note cards and pens in a drawer to the left of where I get ready, so that when I hear nuggets, I can grab a note card and a pen and I can write down as I'm listening to things, so that I can bring that 1 or 2 note cards with me to my desk so that I can put it somewhere where I can retain it, because that might be content that I'm going to in the future use. It may be something that sparks something that I need to do. So I don't want those things, those nuggets, slipping through my fingers. So I don't want it to be a tell me and I forget it type situation. So having something to write it down on helps me with that. So to encounter these things, we need to understand that simply being told something is not enough. We have to write it down, which this brings me to the second part of the quote. It says, teach me, and I will remember. When we're actively taught something, it's more likely to stick. Not just writing it down that it sticks. We have to be taught something. This means that if we want to grow and we want to learn, we need to seek out opportunities to be taught. This could be through attending a workshop, taking an online course, working with a mentor, a coach. However, even with this being a more active approach, we can still struggle to fully grasp what it is that we're being told and applying it to our knowledge. Again, sometimes we have to go through the physical of writing it down to help us retain it up here. And then I have to bring that and put it where I keep it for content, or put it in my notebook where I have my marketing material, or put it where I have my sales material, or put it where I have my team material or leadership material, so that I can go back to it and constantly be taught these things. The final part of the quote comes in and says, "Involve me and I will learn." Lasting learning occurs when we are actively involved in some process. We need to take part in what we've been taught and how it applies to our lives. The more hands-on we are with something, we'll learn and grow. I had a leadership coach one time, and I talk about him frequently as well. He had a 3-step training process. And it's very similar to what we just talked about. Show me and let me watch you do it. And then let me do it with you. And then let me do it by myself. 3-step training process. But in all of those ways, I'm involved in some form or fashion. So how can we become more involved in our learning journey? There's 3 simple steps that I want to talk about in the implementation today. You're not going to be surprised with this. You want to set clear expectations or clear and achievable goals. Determine what it is that you want to learn and develop, and then create your plan to achieve those goals. Whatever it is that you're wanting to learn. I have a notebook here. It's really kind of my notebook that I don't know that you can really see it, but it's a to-do workbook. And it's, you can see what all my to-dos are here. It's a long list. But in the last couple of days, or last night, I sat here because I'm working on a new business. Because on my dream list, I wrote down that within the next 5 years, I want to create a nonprofit entity that works with wounded women. And recently, I've been interviewing on my podcast people who either have been wounded or work with wounded people. And it's wanting me to escalate that timeline. And so I sat and I started working through, what does that plan look like? How do I get involved? What is that process? What does the platform look like? Is it virtual? Is it in person? All of those things. So I need to I need to get clarity. I need to set some achievable goals for that. And then the things that I don't know about on setting up a nonprofit entity, I've got to find a learning tribe. I got to understand the whole process. So find your learning tribe, connect with like-minded people who share your passion for personal growth, professional growth, financial growth. Connect with those people, because these connections are going to help you stay accountable and motivated towards whatever it is that you are going to be creating and what you are going to be doing. towards your passion, your vision, your mission. And then reflect on those things, because once I made my list, I sat and I looked over the list and I reflected on that and I adjusted the list a little bit. I sent my list to someone and said, what are your thoughts? Is there anything to adjust? I need to prioritize this. I need to evaluate the process that I'm going to go through. Maybe adjust the goals. I need to set some strategies. And remember that this is a learning process. There may be some failures that take place, adjustments that need to be made. It's an ongoing process that takes place. So let's go back to the quote. Benjamin Franklin says, tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. So I'm wanting to involve myself into this learning process of what this is that I'm wanting to create. I don't want to hand it off to someone else. I don't want someone else telling me everything to do. I don't want someone else teaching me everything. I want them to involve me in the steps so that I can learn from other people. Who are the people that have done this well? Who can I go study? Who are the people that have set up these foundations, associations? Who can I go learn from? So as we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with this thought. True mastery comes from being an active participant in your own growth journey. Someone can't just tell you what to do. Someone just can't show you what to do. You have to be involved, an exchange taking place before you can grow. If I don't have ups and downs, I'll never be successful. I have to embrace the wisdom of Benjamin Franklin's quote, and I have to get more involved myself in the learning process to know what to do. And once I do, it's going to unlock my full potential and help me excel in my personal journey, my professional journey, and my financial journey of Tonya's life. It's going to help that dream come true. I want to thank you today for joining me on the Influence and Growth Mastery podcast. I want you to be sure that you subscribe to wherever you're listening today, whether it's on one of the 13 platforms, or it's Popolo, or it's YouTube, wherever it is that you're listening. Please do yourself a favor, do me a favor, and subscribe to this podcast. Also, if you are getting benefit from them, please share it. Share it with your friends and family. I do my best to bring people onto these podcasts that the audience can learn from. There is a plethora of entrepreneurs and small business owners that I bring on here. I am getting feedback that people are resonating with these interviewees that are coming on. People are wanting to reach out and buy books. They're wanting to have conversations. They're wanting to engage. And I hope that each and every one of you that are listening find someone that you're wanting to connect with. Thank you so much for being here today. And until the next episode, please continue to explore the power of your personal growth, your professional growth. Until tomorrow, because it's still April and the challenge is still going on, take action and involve yourself in your own learning journey. Only you can do that. And I know that you will be happy with the results, because if you take action, nothing else can happen but success. I love you. Goodbye.